Hey there, everybody. I am Afefe with Touch by Tarot. So happy you're here. If you're new to my channel, I'm an intuitive tarot and oracle reader. I also do some politics. I'm a former journalist, so I dip my toe in the political scene here and there. But my passion truly is always around personal growth, spiritual development, spiritual awakening, all things astrological, metaphysical, things that keep us going, right? Because for everything that we're faced with right now and the world that we're living in, I think it is crucial. I think you would agree that we are under it. We are under the pressure right now. And I think for many of us, what it's doing is a byproduct of all of the sort of chaos that we're living with right now, is it is really pushing us to, be steadfast in our spiritual growth and development, to explore, to strengthen ourselves, and also build community where, like on this platform, we know that we're not alone and that we have community, we have support. So that said, I always check in, and for my regular subscribers, mwah, I really appreciate you. My members, all of it. I'm extremely grateful. So that said, we have ourselves a new moon in Pisces coming up tomorrow. I'm taping this on Saturday the 9th. Tomorrow, Sunday, March 10th, we have a new moon in Pisces, super moon. It is really important, you all, for many reasons, but one of which is we have a couple of eclipses coming up on March 25th and I think April 8th, all right? Lunar eclipse followed by a solar eclipse. So, like, game on. We know when eclipses come, things change. Things, revelations. We have revelations about things and circumstances in our lives, like big stuff. And what's important also about eclipses is it's not so much about what happens on the day of the eclipse, but it's that those eclipses usher in energy that can then play out in different ways in our lives up to, even 6 months and beyond, right? So I think it's really important for us to be in a state of preparation and also be not guarded, not like got our dukes up. That since when does that work with spirit? But more so, just in terms. Oh, excuse me, I pushed the camera. But more so in terms of understanding what the dynamics are, understanding more about the energies so that we can be prepared to adapt and be prepared to shift and move and learn. So, talking about movement and learning, here we are, new moon in Pisces. Pisces very often being represented by those double fish, right? Yeah, I got those, those two fish that are swimming toward one another and around one another. So I was about to do my typical, for my new moon and full moon readings, I usually do a pick a card. I'm getting my crystals and stuff together this morning, and Spirit was like, excuse us, Afefe, we're not doing that one today. We're going to do something a little different. I was like, what? So what I have here, I have not seen the cards. Again, if you're not familiar with me, my process is I read from multiple decks. I probably have about 10 decks in front of me. Tarot and Oracle, it's my process. I love the challenge of being able to interpret that for you all. So because I read from so many decks, rather than watch you, sit here, I'm opening up boxes and flipping cards. Like, I literally have been at this before taping probably about 30 minutes, 35 minutes. So rather than go through all of that and, do too much chatter, I'd rather get the cards on the table, give you all that introduction, and then get ready to go in. A couple of things I want to mention before we go down on the table with the cards. We have to remember that Pisces, actually, we think about Neptune with Pisces. Neptune being that very dreamy, deeply spiritual energy, that very universal and cosmic energy. Things can get very, fantasies can get going, dreams can get going. Thus, the title of today's video, which is Dream Big and Balance Our Emotions, thinking about balancing with those two fish I was talking about, right? But what Spirit said in terms of, I was getting ready to do my typical crystal pick a card, and Spirit said, no, we are doing yin yang, the divine masculine and the divine feminine. It's about balance. It is about that Neptune energy, that big energy, that cosmic energy, is to have our dreams. And woo, do we need them more than ever right now? Again, with everything going on socially, politically, economically, globally, you name it. So it's crucial for us to think about keeping things in balance, keeping ourselves balanced. For instance, for me as a reader, yes, I'm very practical. It's the Capricorn in me. So I try to do very down to earth readings and do things in practical ways. But there is the need to dream and dream big. The co-ruler of Pisces, aside from Neptune, is Jupiter. And I don't know that, we don't talk about that often enough, because when we think about Jupiter, Jupiter is about expansion. It is about karma. It is about luck. But it also, in terms of that expansion part, Jupiter can ping off of the energy that comes toward it. So in other words, when we are in a state of chaos or a state of anxiety or a state of worry, then when we're in Jupiter energy, it can expand that. It can be like, every little thing becomes just blown up and bigger, right? But when we're talking about a balanced perspective, that yin yang, those fish, prosperity, dreams, making our fantasies reality, thinking about manifestation, which is also very much what new moons are about. They are that prime time for us to be intentional, to journal, to light our candles, to say our prayers, to plant our seeds, to be intentional about what changes we are trying to make in our lives, what it is that we are trying to attract to us. And therefore, when we get to the full moon, it is sort of a realization of that energy. It builds up momentum. If we stick with it and do the work, it builds up momentum. And then we can finally, sort of see the results of that, so that we can release and move on to the next aspect. All right. So having said that, we're going to do a yin yang new moon in Pisces reading. I'm going to take it down on the table now. Excuse me for the movement. All right, make sure you can see the table. And get my little notebook out the way. All right, that looks good. So I have yin and yang. That's the way Spirit gave it to me this morning. And you all should say, like, decks were falling off the shelf. I'm up to probably now 120, maybe more decks in this closet that I have. And decks were just falling out like, yes, choose me. So we got a lot of cards here, yin and yang, divine feminine, divine masculine. And again, the thing is, our topic for today is dream big, thinking about Jupiter, how Jupiter co-rules Pisces, and balance our emotions, that Neptune quality, that dreamy quality, that's deeply spiritual quality that loves to search and expand, using Jupiter, but expand our dream, expand possibilities, expand the work that we're currently doing, sticking to that dream. So let's go in. We're going to move the masculine over, and we're going to go in on the divine feminine. I feel like I want to bring this down just a little bit more. There we go. All right, let's see what we got, you all. Our tarot first. We have the World. And I want to take this up just a little bit so you can... Ooh, I'm so sorry for that. Oh, you all, I am so sorry about that. Okay, stay with me. All right, there we go. We have the World. We have the Three of Wands. We have the Six of Swords, so moving forward in a logical way. And we have the Five of Cups. All right, that's getting us into some of that Pisces energy. So let's put those there. Moving on from some disappointment, moving on and moving toward what we want to grow. This is a beautiful, we were talking about that expansiveness with Jupiter. So that Three of Fire is about expansion and growth and moving toward something, gaining momentum on what we're moving toward. Got some chakra cards here. We're going to do that towards the end. We have an idyllic times, the garden paradise. That's that dreamy quality. but it's dreaming on earth. It's dreaming things into existence, because garden is that earthly energy. Idyllic times, though, it's about changing our perspective on the times that we're living in, rather than constantly reinforcing the message of chaos and disturbance and dissension and polarization, etc. Spirit is bringing us back to, remember, we're talking about the divine yin yang, the divine masculine and feminine. So that's always going to encourage us to look bigger, think bigger. The eyes of the eagle rising above the fray. Can you imagine that? Just as we said, think bigger. Woo! Thank you, Spirit. Rising above the fray. Whoa, do we need to do that? I need to keep this card out and put it on my refrigerator right now. All right. With my thoughts, I co-create with the universe. There we have it. I have destruction. That is the old way of being. And I also feel like this is a precursor to these eclipses that we were talking about that are coming. We have inner knowing. Beautiful. Because Pisces is also known for being a very, very naturally psychic sign. For many of us, we work at developing our psychic intuition. We meditate, we do our exercises, we take our classes. We are on the journey of spiritual growth so that we can have that inner knowing. Pisces kind of has a head start on a lot of that, right? Pisces is naturally endowed with that sort of inner knowing because of that Neptunian watery energy. We have making waves, and it says, momentum is building. It's your time and achievement. I'm going to put that near, that ties into that 3 of Wands we were talking about with that growth and moving toward it with that 6 of Swords. Making some waves. And that's what comes after that destruction. And we have the soul star chakra merging with the doggone divine. Woo-wee. All right, talking about, that's why Spirit came to me and said, no, we're doing yin yang, the divine masculine and divine feminine, because there's something in this new moon, you all, again, in preparation for these eclipses that are coming. Spirit is saying it is going to be really important for us to actively, not theoretically, not just from a space of study, but actively work with Spirit, actively incorporate more spiritual principles into our own lives, in the way that we talk, walk, think, the things we do, the actions we take, the people we choose to vibe with and hang out with. All of those things are important. And finally, I pulled a couple of chakra cards, and we have the root chakra. With every breath, I release the anxiety and fear within me. So working with your root chakra, many of you may be drawn to that. If that's part of that divine masculine feminine energy that needs to get balanced at this time. And I pulled an instruction card. Again, see, that's how you know I don't look at these cards ahead of time. So when I pull them, sometimes if the leader card or the card that introduces the deck is there, I may in fact pull that, and that's what I did. All right, so let's get another one here, Spirit. We have the solar plexus, and it's recommending some stones for the solar plexus. Citrine, yellow tourmaline, and amber. I never even knew there was a yellow tourmaline. All right, citrine, yellow tourmaline, and amber. So the 2 chakras that are coming up, interestingly, and pay attention to these numbers. This deck comes with numbers. There's a 14 and a 44. For those of you who are into numerology, there may be some significance there. Ages, birth dates, etc. Just felt like Spirit said I needed to point that out. All right, so we've got some root chakra work and some solar plexus work. Root chakra having to do with our security, our stability, our foundations. Divine masculine and feminine being our foundation of what allows us to nurture and dream, which is feminine, which also combines with what allows us to take action and claim a certain degree of authority over ourselves and our circumstances to co-create with Spirit. That would be the divine masculine. All right, so we've got the root chakra and the solar plexus chakra. I'm going to put those there. What else do you want to say? What's going on here, Spirit? So again, going back to the basics, let me pull some of these up. I want to go back to what we were initially seeing in that world and that Three of Wands. This is the yin section again of this reading, you all. So from a feminine perspective, from a divine feminine perspective, think about what you have grown, what you have created, what you are creating with the world. The world is also acknowledging the efforts that you've taken to date, meaning there's a sense of completion there. When the world comes, it is work, well done. It's almost like Spirit is saying, and the divine feminine is saying, well done. Now let's get into that next chapter of growth. Let's get into that next chapter of having a vision for where you want to go from here. And it's not so much, again, in the feminine aspect, it's more about giving birth to it. It's more about processing it. It's more about envisioning and creating it. In this instance, in Pisces, you all might want to really take some time, like get in your gardens, and not only physical gardens, but enjoy the earthly things like flowers and gardening and planting seeds. But it's also metaphysically, because we're in that Pisces Neptunian energy, it is about metaphysically thinking and planting this different version of yourself. If you get in the mirror, for instance, and you don't really like what you see, you're kind of beating up on yourself. Maybe for many of us, I deal with this a lot. We're aging. Or I'm aging. I'll speak for myself. So yes, I was talking to someone about this in a reading recently. The version of me that I see in the mirror right now is not that version that was, 3 decades ago. But I'm okay with that because the power that I feel at this time of my life, and I think many of you can relate to this as well, in terms of the divine feminine, and understanding what the feminine is about, understanding creation, understanding having the eyes of the eagle and being able to rising above the fray. That takes a level of emotional maturity. And with the divine feminine, it is remembering that the feminine loves nothing more than to create and see things grow, to plant the seeds and see that creation take root and sprout and grow. So whether it's building your business, building your loving relationships, building on your health, building on the recovery that I feel some of you are going through around grief or loss. It could be a loss of the way that you've always lived your life. It could be many of you are dealing with actual loss of people, either through death or people have moved on, divorce, people have moved away to different states, whatever that situation is. And again, that too is preparing you for these eclipses, because eclipses say, we know the only constant in life is change. And with the divine feminine, rather than lose ourselves in that chaos, it's focusing on that garden, the garden, paradise, idyllic times. That's what the divine feminine brings us, is a reminder that Mother Earth, that, the concept of mother. And for many of us, we do struggle with that because mothering and sometimes motherhood is not easy. And many of us, there's some forgiveness that some of you are going through around mothering, how you were mothered, or how you were prepared or not prepared to mother. And that's not just for those who have had biological children. That could also be for those who have had pets, etc., who have been teachers, people in service to others. Those kinds of things come into play here as well. That soul star chakra, merging with the divine. This is what's coming up for you during these eclipses. This is a precursor. So please hone in. And again, even though we're in this divine feminine aspect of the reading right now, before we move to the masculine, remember, we all have those, the YT chromosomes or something? I wasn't so good in science, you all. but we all have those chromosomes within us. And so we have a bit of, however we identify and whatever body we're in, we all have the divine masculine and feminine within us. There is a powerful message here that we need to be prepared for the destruction of the old. That's what allows us to move on. That's what the world, that's what that completion in the world is about. Destruction isn't always mayhem, It isn't always about, slash and burn or scorched earth. Although a lot of the rhetoric and again, the times that we're living in right now, it feels that way. That is a lot of what we're being bombarded with on a daily basis. But again, from a spiritual perspective and in our spiritual walk and journey, and our greater awareness, Jupiter being also a co-ruling planet of Pisces, this is about dreaming bigger and balancing those emotions. So understanding the destruction comes to make way for something new, for this growth that happens. Okay? That's what that destruction is there for. That's the purpose that it serves, is to make way for what else is coming and what else you're about to do, because you're going to make some waves. Let's go back to that for a moment. Making waves. And it says, momentum is building. It's your time and achievement. And again, this is whatever area of life is most important for you right now. I'm sorry, but I just looked down at my little chip and nail polish. Let me switch. That's a girl thing. But there's this notion of, with this momentum, 3 of Wands, it is recognizing your achievement. It is bringing, from the feminine perspective, recognizing just how much you have grown, how much, I haven't said much about this 5 of Cups that's sitting there. You have grown beyond sitting in the midst of feeling disappointed with something that happened, or certain events that have happened, or patterns of events that have happened over your life. Rather than sit and dwell on that, there is the destruction of that. It is the walking away from and expelling. That's the word they're giving me. Actually expelling that spirit of despair, or that spirit of loss, that spirit of sadness, that spirit of feeling stuck and not knowing how to get yourself going again. You get yourself going by merging with the divine. You get yourself going by understanding that momentum is building, and it's building so that you can grow further and faster. It's building in the ways that allow you to rise above the fray, that allow you to create something that is more pleasant and more pleasing to you. And this is going to be new moon setting intentions in Pisces. This is going to be about your dreams, not just looking at what is, but looking at and thinking about what could be. What does your paradise look like? What does your daily life look like in ways that bring you more peace, more joy, more ability and pleasure in fantasizing? We sometimes can poo-poo fantasy. It's just a fantasy. It has nothing to do with what's really going to happen for me or become a part of my reality. Well, watch our words, right? So that's what Spirit is saying here. You do have the ability to make waves. Why? Because with thoughts, I co-create with the universe. I just looked down as I finished saying that, and you saw it was tucked under some other cards. I'm telling you all, Spirit is beautiful. The way they bring these cards together, and the way they direct me to these decks so that I can bring, you can have the messages that you're meant to have. I'm grateful for it, truly. And I hope you are. I hope it resonates. I really do. So with your thoughts, you co-create with the universe. Your energy from a feminine perspective says there is potential. There is room for growth. There is room for recreation after something gets destroyed. All right? And it is going to rely on your inner knowing. Your inner knowing, your psychic abilities are growing, and you're curious. There's a sense of curiosity there. That's how that 6 of Swords strikes me. There is this, you're going to be feeling more and more curious about your own potential the more you recognize your potential to co-create with the universe. The more you claim that potential to co-create with the universe, the more you rise above that fray, and you've got the eyes of the eagle. Like you are laser focused what you want to build, what direction you're going in, what you feel like you deserve, having moved on from that Five of Cups, that sense of disappointment, moving on from whatever that needed to be expelled. That's how that destruction is feeling to me. And then finally in the Divine Feminine, you all, going back to that root chakra and solar plexus chakra. It is about confidence. This is the solar plexus is warm. It's fiery. That's that Three of Wands you've got there. This is what gets you going further. It is what gets your confidence going. It's what improves your self-esteem. When you see yourself as that co-creator with the universe, when you understand your inner knowing, and that you can make waves, and that your world is changing to become more idyllic, that your garden, your paradise, you are creating that. And the Divine Feminine gives you the power and the onus and the spiritual DNA to be able to create that. All right. So that's the Divine Feminine. That's that dreaming big and balancing your emotions in the Divine Feminine is understanding just how powerful you are and being willing to let go of what is no longer there. Where's that World card again? Being willing to let go because things are changing. This is a new world. And it is a new world, not just that is developing around you and beyond your control. It is a new world that you are able to help determine how it takes shape, what kind of garden it's going to look like by rising above the fray and claiming that Divine Feminine energy. All right. All right, now, having said that, let's see what this Divine Masculine is about. Let me take a sip of tea. All right, let's see what's coming. We have a Messenger of Air. And we have the Eight of Air. You know, what's really interesting about this to me already, you all, is we know that from a spiritual perspective, the Divine Masculine is pissed. Because the masculine archetype and the way that power is being abused in the world that we're living in right now. So the divine, remember, this is the Divine Masculine. So the Divine Masculine is like from the Eight of Swords. If you're familiar with tarot at all, it is a card of, can very often reflect anxiety. It can reflect fear. It can reflect moving messenger of air. So it's messages that are promoting fear. It is the seeds of fear and turmoil that have been planted from a masculine perspective. And the Divine Masculine is not happy about that. We have the King of Pentacles. Come on, Divine Masculine. And we have Judgment. Hold the horses. Let me just sit with that for a minute because they're coming through. So here we have the earthly, you know, that again, many of the power structures and authority that's going on in the world right now is got it all messed up. They're coming with messages that are just promoting fear. They are warmongering. They are, you know, taking away people's rights. They are being very callous about people's ability to live and live peacefully and live prosperously and even just survive. You know, when we think about what's happening right now in many places in the world, in Ukraine and Gaza, etc. So it's off the chain. And so now we have the King of Pentacles and Judgment coming from a Divine Masculine that says, for many of us, this new moon in Pisces is ushering in a time when we recognize the need to take care of one another. King of Pentacles. King of Pentacles is that energy of whatever you need, I got it. Pentacles, our health, our money, our homes, our land, our communities, our stabilities and structures as a society or as societies across the globe. All right. And then we have Judgment. Judgment is, it is one of my favorite cards in tarot when it comes to relating to spirit, the Divine Masculine in this case, because there usually is that trumpet where spirit is like getting loud saying, look, listen up. And so And here, in many depictions, you have the people that are like, yes, I'm reaching towards you. I want the message. This feels very much about that Jupiter aspect of Pisces that we were talking about, because it's time to grow into a more mature, divine, masculine, caring, I got you, I'll take care of you, and moving away from all of that dissension. So this new moon in Pisces is bringing that. And I think it's one of those things where it's sort of like it starts with one and it multiplies. Male or female, we're talking about, or however you identify, we're talking about a principle here. We're talking about divine masculinity. Divine masculinity is meant to, in that yin yang symbol, it is meant to cover and protect what is created by the divine feminine. And so there's a protective quality here of the King of Pentacles. Now, on the flip side, it can get stingy, it can get controlling, etc. But that's when we're analyzing human behavior. This is the divine feminine that comes to recommend to us humans that we pay attention to what is the larger, the bigger picture, Jupiter, the larger goal, the larger society. The larger, again, they're taking me back to the big picture and saying, despite all of the chaos and dissension that we may see in the current time, remember that this is just a moment in time in the continuum, in the larger scheme of history and the cosmos, and we will get through this. That is a huge message they're delivering. We have grateful optimism. Oh my God, a joyous view of the future. Come with it, Spirit. Come with it. Again, remember, I don't see these cards until we do this. We have a lost compass. Getting back to integrity. Dadgummit. Getting back to integrity, you all. I mean, you see how this message is unfolding? We just talked about how, the masculine authority has just screwed everything up and a lost compass. And it's time to get back to this integrity. That's what that judgment is. And this grateful optimism going forward. And it's saying having a joyous view of the future, because that's the message that's coming through here in judgment, you all, is to have that. That counters that. Light overcomes darkness. Period. In every domain, light overcomes darkness. In every dimension. All right, let's keep going. I've gotten excited. We have, as I heal my mind, I heal my body. Mind, air, thoughts, patterns, communication, King of Pentacles, body. Health, money, security, homes, families, all of that. As I heal my mind, I heal my body. This new moon in Pisces is from the divine masculine, you all, is saying there's a tremendous healing that needs to be done, especially in the divine masculine. And if you watch the first part of this taping, you see the difference in this energy versus that divine feminine energy. The masculine needs it so much. Decay. This is what is undergoing decay, or it will undergo decay. All right, this ego tripping, this fear mongering, this jockeying for power at whosever expense, that is what is undergoing decay. We have a free spirit. That's part of that grateful optimism, I feel. People want to be free. That's what's happening in this judgment card as well. When I pointed out, the people reaching up to spirit, and he wants to hear what spirit is saying, what the ancestors are saying, what the wise ones, what the master teachers are saying. That's because we want to be free from this. We want to be liberated from this. And the divine, and understanding that the divine masculine is not defined by all of that dissension and ego tripping. We have the mist. Trust your inner compass and be led from within. You know what? This is such a beautiful card to pull in relation to the new moon in Pisces, you all, in the divine masculine, because it does rely on an inner compass. Remembering that masculine energy is active. It is an energy that sees what has been created, sees the potential, It is the energy that builds the house on the land. It sees the land, it sees the lay of the land, and then it goes, wait a minute, we could have a whole entire community here for families, etc. It does that. And so in that mist, that is what is something that is built on or built from a masculine perspective. And we have the third eye chakra, your pineal perspective. This ties very well into this, because as you trust your inner compass, then you trust your vision. You trust what it is that you see from a masculine perspective that needs to be done. I think in some practical terms, you all, going back to this King of Pentacles, this is about rebuilding communities. It is about allowing people to have a free spirit. It is about correcting some of the laws that we have. So for you personally, it could be just saying your prayers. Everybody doesn't have to be a social activist. Everybody doesn't have to get on social media and with a microphone and speak their piece. But you would be surprised at the power of prayer and thoughts and intentions. And so for this free spirit, to give people back their freedoms to live as they wish. LGBTQ, women's rights, globally being able to allow people to live on their own terms. This is something that is coming through this new moon in the divine masculine. And that third eye is this is that eye of intuition. It is about trusting that inner compass to act on the healing that you know. Getting back to your integrity, choosing optimism, choosing to be optimistic about what is still possible, listening more carefully from a spiritual perspective. If we listened as hard to spirit as we do to the news and to, the conversations that are had about the state of decay in modern, culture, politics, global situations, our finances, the job market, health care, etc. If we could free up some of that through an intentional, optimistic view of the future, because ultimately what is in charge is not that twisted, egotistical masculinity. This is the divine masculinity that's coming to speak to the healing that will take place and getting back to integrity. All right. And finally, I have a couple of chakra areas. We have the crown chakra, totally fits. This is, I am divine and inspired. We've seen several areas of integrity and inspiration here, and that is the divine masculine. This is about working through the crown chakra, judgment, listening to spirit, talking to spirit, trusting in the higher power, a higher power, or however you define it. God, goddess, ancestors, angels, ETs, whatever you're connecting with that brings you to a higher space, a higher ground, and gives you hope for the future. That's it, that crown chakra. And then it's also strengthening the sacral chakra. It relates to water. The sacral chakra is ruled by water, reflects water, the ability to change and flow. Reconnect with water by spending time in water. Go for a swim, sit or take a relaxing bath. It's about creative expression. So this is a reckoning that the divine masculine is having, you all, with that divine feminine. Water is very important. It's cleansing, it's nourishing, and it can help give that masculine energy the room and the freedom to flow into a different type of activity, getting back to integrity by making different choices and literally seeing a different view of the future. Okay? That's it. That's what I got, you all. Thank you so much. I was pausing to see if Spirit had something else to say, but no, I think that was the message. I wish you all the absolute best. I would love to hear your feedback and how this reading pinged you. Have a great new moon, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.